Hi everyone. This video is going to be a little bit longer today. I'm going to be talking a bit about potentially symptoms that were overlooked that could have potentially indicated that something was wrong. Now, I want to start off by saying that pancreatic cancer has very few symptoms, and there's no real, there's not widely used tests that can detect it very well. And a lot of times it's detected accidentally, much like my own case. So I just want to start off by talking about a year ago. I had went to the U.S. to visit my family because my son was 1 year old and wanted to introduce him to the family. And it was a great time. And we made the connections with family, and it was great to be able to see everybody together and even go on a trip. Coming back to Thailand from the U.S. and going back to work and whatnot, my wife started noticing that I was getting tired more frequently, and this isn't just like normal. I'm had a long day, kind of tired. This was kind of like falling asleep, sitting up, or really just laying on the ground and falling asleep tired frequently. And during the time I was transitioning roles and wasn't exercising much, and I'm a little bit overweight. And we just chalked it up to stress or anxiety or just challenges from work, which even at the time, if we had noticed, it would have been really hard for anybody to diagnose as well. But roughly around May of last year, I started feeling just tired more frequently, and but just chalked it up to life. And then, fast forward, that kind of persisted. And then most recently, what happened is that probably a month ago, went on a work trip. And, the work trip consisted of, going to Europe and, dealing with the different time zones, and decided to bring my wife, her sister, and Silas with me. It was a lot of walking, a lot of sightseeing, and once again, I was exhausted every single day. And walking from one site to the other. Although my family was okay, I just felt exhausted after every walk. And then I also wasn't adapting to the food well. For some reason, when I was eating anything, it felt like even if it was a little bit, I felt really bloated and it was really difficult to digest. And then at some point, I started feeling like it was difficult to take deep breaths. Again, chalked it up to, just being out of shape and not having the physical endurance to do these things, and just kept persisting and going. So coming back from the work trip, I actually attended an event and had a fall. A fall where I fell down and hit my back and hit the back of my head as well. I had a little bit of whiplash for a few days. But that was really what prompted me to go see the doctor, because I felt like something was bloated around my stomach. It was like right below the rib cage, and it was not going down. I was waking up actually feeling bloated as well. But I'm not one to visit hospitals much, so it still took me 2 weeks to actually go see a specialist. And thankfully, the specialist decided to do some scans, and noticed that there was some growths in the liver, and then wanted to do a CT scan with contrast, which is one of the more effective ways to identify this, and then subsequently an MRI. And the MRI, although not foolproof, could accurately, or at least with 95% accuracy, say that there was malignant growths. At that point in time, I didn't really know what to think, what to feel. My wife actually didn't tell me initially, and then because the next step was really just to get a liver biopsy to see what kind of cancer we were dealing with. And but after the MRI, it was discovered that it was that it originated from the pancreas and had already spread to the liver, so it was already stage 4. And that's one of the biggest challenges with pancreatic cancer, because it doesn't exhibit many, if any, symptoms until you're in pretty late stages. Apparently, the pancreas has a head and a tail, and if the growth or the tumor is on the head, you're more likely to see symptoms, because it may block bile ducts, and you may get jaundice. I, however, had it on the tail side, which from what I understand typically exhibits no symptoms. So it was somewhat a blessing in disguise that I had a fall that prompted a test that really led me to the finding that I did have pancreatic cancer that had already spread to the liver. The signs that were missed, they're very hard to definitively say if it's cancer. So that's one of the things that they're working on, which is to have better tests for pancreatic cancer. And hopefully, from what I understand, there's things on the market right now that are being researched, so that hopefully in the future others won't have to be detected so late in life, so late in the process. It's been a little bit confusing, and it's why me, and all that stuff, but that stuff doesn't matter anymore, and right now it's all about how do I fight this, and I'm gonna beat it, and I'm doing it for my family, my son. I want to see him grow up. He's only 2 years old, and I think there's still a lot of good to do in the world that I haven't been able to accomplish yet. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about some of the early warning signs, even if not definitive, but for the next person, maybe it'll help out. One of the things that I am doing, because apparently pancreatic cancer is potentially 20% 20% genetic. So I'm getting genetic testing done to see if I have the genetic markers for actually where I inherited, or potentially this was hereditary. And what that does is that it makes it so that I can use the same markers to test Silas or my brothers or other members of my family. And if they exhibit those markers as well, then they just have to be more cautious around, getting cancer in the future. And it's not just pancreatic cancer, but really any cancer that if you have these genetic markers, that it could give you a higher chance or higher probability of getting cancer in the future. So that is definitely something I want to do for my family and my brothers, to make sure that, if there is something to be aware of or something that we should be paying attention to, that we do. And hopefully we never have to use it, but hopefully it comes in handy at some point. So yep, I know this was a longer post. Just wanted to kind of talk about my story a little bit more in depth, and some of the early warning signs I may have overlooked. If you have any questions, you can always comment in the chat, and I'll try to answer it the best I can. Talk to y'all later.